I'm Kamika Dillard, certified ACC professional coach and CEO of Fail-Forward Coaching. At Fail-Forward Coaching, professional growth isn't one size fits all. That's why we've created 3 ways to support you. DOT for building clarity and direction, RISE for resilience and intentional action, and VISION for long-term strategy and leadership. Each program is designed to help you move through setbacks with confidence and clarity and create momentum that lasts. No pressure, no hustle, just real progress. Ready to explore what's possible? Book a free discovery call at failforwardcoaching.com. Welcome to the Black Women Will Save Black Women, the podcast where we support, amplify, validate, and elevate Black women always. I'm your host, Kamika Dillard, and this is our sanctuary, a space built on the belief that when Black women show up for each other, we don't just survive, we save. This is more than a podcast. This is a movement. So let's get into it. This week's Fail-Forward Files is centered around the need to reset. You don't need to reset, sis. I'm telling this because I had to tell myself this. You need to evolve. So as you might notice, I'm rocking a different hairstyle than I've been rocking in past episodes. This style is super outside of my comfort zone, but this was a decision that we had to make when I took out my weave because we totally forgot that when I had braids before I put in my weave, I cut a chunk of my hair out, taking out my braids. And we had to make some modifications. Even my hairstylist had forgot that I cut out this chunk of hair. And yeah, so when I got to the hair salon and I was like, oh my gosh, I should just shave it all off. I got really upset about looking at it. I was like, I just need to shave it all off and start all over. And my stylist says to me, it doesn't matter if you cut it all off and start it all over if you do the same thing to your hair. If you're not taking care of it, if you're not doing conditioning, putting your oils in, all that other stuff, it doesn't matter. You can shave it all off and you will still wind up with the same results. And that's when I came to the realization that I find myself in the midst of a similar type cycle. Keep in mind, everything that I've created from a coaching program's perspective has me in mind. I am a recovering perfectionist. I am a former procrastinator. I am a former people pleaser. I'm still type A. I don't know if I'm going to shake that, but I am not as paralyzed as I used to be with overthinking. So when I think about these resets, especially because we're so close at the top of the year, you don't need to reset. You really need to make a decision to evolve based on some of the things you've already learned. So I know I've been using my hair as an analogy around this journey, but think about it from a hair perspective. Very, very simple. If you want to evolve when it comes to your career, when it comes to your business, if you're trying to figure out weight loss, if you're trying to figure out your money, et cetera, think about what I am looking at evolve to stand for. So number 1, the first E, you must eliminate. You have to break these cycles and stop making excuses. The only way that you're really going to move forward is take some accountability and realize the part that you're playing in your own destruction. And I'm talking to myself because I've done a lot of reflecting from 2025 and the part I've played in all of my missteps, mistakes, and my failures, which I utilize that information to make my next decision. So it's not a bad thing, but you got to recognize it so you can break the cycles. The next thing you need to do is validate. Recognize those lessons from your previous mistakes. Validate them. Use them so that you can craft a new plan, a new pathway forward. So it's okay to make mistakes, but we don't want to keep making the same mistakes over and over. So we validate what happened so that we can move on. Which brings me to the O, which stands for own it. Own it all. Take full accountability for your path. My L stands for level up. You got to upgrade your habits. You got to upgrade your systems. You got to upgrade your mindset most of all. If you're trying to get to the next level of your life, whether it's your career, whether it's figuring out how to make $1 million business, you can't have a $10 mindset trying to bring in $1 million. Those two things just aren't compatible. Vision for my next V. Stay clear on the life that you are trying to build. Do you have a vision for it? And I don't mean a vision board per se. I know those are really, really popular, but when I think about my vision, I like to have a vision statement that is really driving me towards my mission. So I have a vision statement, and then I have a mission that I am trying to accomplish that levels like onto what my actual vision is. And then finally execute. This is my favorite part of Evolve. I am a get it done girl. I'm a get shit done girl. I've been trying to figure out a really like niche way to like approach people and saying like, oh, I just get shit done. But I'm an executor. People always ask me, how do I get so much stuff done? It's because I'm consistent with just trying to do one thing at a time. So no more resetting. We're over resetting. And even so, with my own hair journey, I'm moving forward in the way that I'm moving forward in my life. I am failing forward with my hair journey, making sure I put my oil and my drops on my edges every day, getting help to take down my braids because that's what happened the last time. I tried to do it on my own, and I preach community a lot. Girl, get one of your girlfriends to take out your hair. And and all the things that we're trying to do when we're trying to accomplish our like goals, our real goals, quote unquote, don't try to do things alone. Learn from your lessons, learn from your mistakes so that you can evolve. No more resetting. All right. Our guest today, super excited about this conversation, is Alexis Watts. Alexis Watts is the founder and CEO of A.Watts Collective, a Colorado based marketing and PR agency known for its bold, boots on the ground approach. After a high risk pregnancy and an unexpected layoff, Alexis turned adversity into opportunity, launching her firm with zero funding and a newborn at the time. Today, A.Watts Collective is a fast growing agency serving franchises, hospitality brands, and business districts across the region. Nicknamed the Kris Jenner of marketing, Alexis is celebrated for her ability to elevate businesses and create opportunities wherever she goes. Welcome to the sanctuary today, Alexis Watts.
Hey, thank you.
Hey, girl, hey.
Hey,
How are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm awesome. I
Good.
am so excited to share your story today. It's one that's probably going to resonate with a lot of people, especially the moms who listen to the podcast, the married folks that listen to the podcast. You, like so many of our listeners, was impacted by the job losses that happened in 2025. So tell me a little bit about your story and your journey of how you got here.
Yeah, so I had been working in corporate right out of college. So for the past 10 years, I've always been a go-getter, like you were saying, executing where I can, networking when I can. I always said that before my baby was my career. So I took it really seriously. Got pregnant, wasn't expecting it. I had been married for about 9 years at that point, but it was just a blessing that came up. But then it was not the best pregnancy in the world. It was honestly very scary. We weren't sure if our baby was going to make it. Um, Being the person that I am, I was putting my job first a lot, and it caused even more stress. I had my baby 8 weeks early. I had a really stressful day at work. Next thing you know, about 12 hours later, I'm at the hospital, and then I'm finding out I'm going to have an emergency C-section. Then to come find out that, I had the baby emergency C-section and then went back to the hospital due to, um, is it not postpartum, but um, preeclampsia. It was a postpartum preeclampsia. So I think it's like the one that you get right after when you're after the baby is born. So just difficult from again from the very beginning to the end. Um, the baby was in the NICU for 6 weeks. I was not sure at that point about going back to work. I was like, do I want to go back to the same company? Do I want to look for something else? And I really did learn to realize that I really do love being a mom. I was really scared about being a mom and having a career. It's like, how do you do both? But it came naturally to me. I went back to work 4 months later, and I could tell something was off. I wasn't sure what it was. And if I'm being quite honest with myself, I knew it was time to move on, but I could not let go of my job. It was the fear of I can't lose my job. I have a new baby. This is my career. This is my dream job. I can't let this go. But sometimes, and now I realize it was a good thing that it's good to be pushed out, even though it's not good in the moment. I lost my job 4 months after coming back to work. The scariest time ever. Because again, you have a newborn, you have bills to pay. Um, and again, I was emotionally attached to a job and I could not find anything at all. And I kept having people ask me, hey, do you do any freelancing? And I was like, no, I'm looking for a real job. Like I'm in my head, I'm like, I have to find
A
another eight
real
to
job.
five. Yeah, cool. Correct. Yes, a real job. I gotta find an 8 to 5, right? And that same day, it was January of this year, I went home and I started doing research. I said, okay, let me get an LLC, let me get a website together. What would I be, what services would I provide? And February 16th, I launched officially with the state of Colorado, AWATS Collective. At the time, it was a PR marketing and talent agency. And from there, it took off from referrals. Um, I never looked back after that because I started seeing money coming in that I had never seen that I can get in 1 month compared to a month in corporate. From there, I needed a team, and I've gone from, doing, one small business here to now having businesses all over the nation. I have franchises from New York. We're in Montgomery, Alabama. We're in Chicago. We're in Phoenix. I have a team of 7 now. And I don't know. I always say I feel like I'm dreaming because when I tell this story, it's very emotional, and that's the quick story, right? It's very emotional, but it's so empowering. Like I have to stop myself and say, this is your life. This is something that you've built. We are expected to hit 1 million next year in revenue just from everything that's coming. I'm tired, but it's a different kind of tired. It's a tired of, man, this is hard to build, but I can see the light. I can really see it. And I remind myself, this is so much better than going back to that real job that
So
I thought I wanted to go back to after being let go.
so let's back this story up just a little bit. I didn't want to interrupt you, but I
No,
know
okay.
the I know our listeners are going to have a lot of questions, especially because you had a challenging pregnancy. I think number one, most of the people who are listening to this podcast are aware of the high mortality rate when it comes to Black women being pregnant and the care that they get while being pregnant, and then when it comes time to actually be in labor, that's a different type of risk, which is why I have no desire to push out babies myself. However, I wanted to talk a little bit more about like the stressful time you were dealing with at work, and even though you're carrying a child, you're trying to ensure that you're in the best position to provide the best atmosphere for this child to come into the world. What was going on from a work perspective that kind of had you in such a high stress level?
Yeah, well, first, to go back, I was told for years it was going to be hard for us to get pregnant. just genetics, PCOS, a little bit of everything. Again, I had been married for 8, 9 years at that point. I got pregnant, and the first thing I did when I found out, the next day I was actually at a work conference. My husband had came with me. I called my doctor, and I know you're supposed to wait 6 or 12 weeks to go in. And I said, no, I need to see you when I get back. I said, I'm don't feel comfortable, starting out this pregnancy without being looked at now. And she always jokes now. She says, wow, you were right. And I said, I know, because I know myself. I know that I need to be seen soon. Um, if I'm being honest, I was not happy during my pregnancy. I was scared the whole time. I was scared of life changing and then how it's going to turn out because I am aware of, um, the mortality rate and what could happen to me, what could happen to the baby. So, during that time, it was a mixture of me doing, I would call it, some people call it doing too much, where it's like we as Black women have to do too much. We have to be networking. We have to work late hours. We have to, I was at a director level and I was in no way in competition of anyone but myself of how do I keep moving myself up? How do I keep this job so I can have, money to take care of my family. So there was part of that. There was another part of, um, someone in a higher level at the company unfortunately announced my pregnancy for me,
Oh,
where my
wow.
husband and I were not wanting our pregnancy to be out there. And because it was so high risk, we weren't sure what was going on. So yeah, I wanted to know the gender, but I wasn't going around telling people, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, I'm pregnant, because I wasn't sure what was happening. When that happened, that was hard because I'm in a room full of people who now know. My majority of my family didn't know. Maybe 10 people in my family knew, but the rest of my family and friends did not know. And again, it's because I was not wanting to put that emotional stress on myself or in them. To come to find out that the next month, I'm finding out, hey, you might have the baby, and I'm 23, maybe 25, 27 weeks. You might have the baby next week. The
Oh,
baby might
wow.
not survive. And I'm hearing all this. And then I'm like, gosh, well, people already know. And my brain is spinning. And I'm like, how am I supposed to do this? How am I supposed to, you know, keep my job and work how I'm working, but then also, keep this pregnancy? And I mean, I was at the doctor probably about, I would say 3 times a week. I was at the doctor from December until the birth in March, which that racks up, whether you have insurance or not. So I'm constantly leaving work, but I'm also like, I have to go to this event, I have to do this. And it's that mindset that I wish that we as Black women didn't have, which is I have to keep going. I have to keep going. Where I should have been taking care of myself and taking a step back. But it was the fear if I take a step back, well, then they're going to look at me and say, she's lazy. She's not doing her job. And that's exactly the stress that came with it. It was already like, oh, this is stressful of pregnancy, but now I'm putting the stress on myself of, well, I have this job and I at the time was the only Black person at the job. So I always feel like we have a flashlight on us and they're looking,
Absolutely.
right? So it was that fear of like if I don't do my job, I'm not going to have anything when I get back here.
So why did you share with your employer that you were pregnant? And I'm asking because we know that there is a perception that we are superhuman. We're beyond, the typical threshold of pain. I'm curious as to why you decided to share with your employer that you were pregnant so early on. What was your hopes for it? I'm just wondering.
No, that's a good question. Um, I think it was more of like the logistics of it all, of the planning. Like, oh, hey, I'm pregnant. I'm gonna be out of office, needing to go to the
Mm-hmm.
doctor's appointments. Here's what I'm gonna do. Let's get everything ready to go for my maternity leave. I would say it was more of that. I would tell you, not that I want to go back to corporate, but if I had to do it over again, I wouldn't say anything so early. Um, I I would do a lot of things differently in my next pregnancy. And it's crazy to say I want another baby, but I'm also like, well, how do I do that if I don't want to get pregnant again? It's so crazy, but I would say I would do a lot of things differently after this one. I would tell you I will put myself first over anything this
So,
time around.
as you should. So the baby comes, you're dealing with the NICU. That's a whole nother level of stress, intensity. And then, once you get the baby home, you only have a short period of time because the US sucks in terms of maternity leave. And then we go back to work. And then how was the environment for you? The reason why I ask is I feel there is a level of empathy that I would extend to coworkers who are new moms, who, had complicated pregnancies, who had babies in NICU. What was the environment like in terms of understanding your situation?
Um, I would say there was a few people who were very comforting, and but then I also got the vibe of, all right, I need you to get back to work because I'm doing this, this, and that. And it was, some might say that, yeah, we were being flexible. And I will say that it was totally not flexible. Before I went on maternity leave, I was able to be flexible with coming in between like 8:30. And then out of nowhere change, everyone is strictly 8 to 5. Well, as a mom, I don't know. I don't think I don't know how anyone is able just to get up early in the morning after having no sleep and then give your child a bath, feed them, dress them, then get yourself ready, get in the car, drop them off at daycare, and that's if you have childcare, drive in traffic, go to office, and be sitting down at 8 o'clock. Like, to me, whether you do that or not, the stress on a mother by the time you're sitting at your desk at 8 o'clock is insane. You're thinking about, like, did I do everything at home? Your brain is not just at work, it's at home and at work. And for that to be taken away, so wow, right when I get back, how convenient. And sorry, I'm getting chills just thinking about it because some of these things I've tried this is a whole nother conversation, but after postpartum depression, you try to block things out. And
Mm.
this is something I feel like I've blocked out for a long time, but that feeling is really, it's terrible because naturally as mothers, we want to take the time with our children versus me rushing up to get up and then sitting at my desk at 8 o'clock, leaving at 5 just to sit in traffic to go get her again. But then, I'm not your typical 8 to 5. I'll work. I'm at I'm at the event at 6 o'clock, or I'm working at my desk until 7 o'clock, or I'm doing this. I'm always doing something on the weekends, but none of that mattered. So that means I'm giving even more. And I will say that was hard for me. Um, And also just feeling the tension was hard for me because it's a tension of I'm going to lose my job. I'm going to lose my job while you're already going through postpartum depression and you have PTSD now from, your birth and your pregnancy and you have all these things going on. That's I don't wish it on anybody. I don't wish what I even go through today on anybody of feeling how I felt after having a baby and going back to work.
And I'm sure that resonates with a lot of moms. I know some close friends who had mom guilt going back,
Hmm.
that separation, and especially for you, for your situation, since your little girl was in the NICU for a period of time, and that even shortened the bonding experience. So we get back to work, and then 4 months later, we are let go from our job. What did we do in our first 30 days after we were let go?
Gosh, I cried a lot.
Why?
That the way it happened was so heartbreaking. Um, I had given my all to them, and I I don't say I regret it, and it's because I got so much experience, so many friends out of it. But to leave with nothing, no severance, you get one last paycheck. My bills were piling up from the medical bills. I had taking out credit cards during, maternity leave. And my feelings were hurt because I thought I liked these people and these people liked me, and it's not how it works. Um, and I feel like I was hiding a lot because I was embarrassed of losing my job. Um, and I looked for jobs, but I really didn't have anything in me. I remember just one day, like, which I mean, when you're paying for daycare, which is like 2,000 a month, like really should you keep your day baby out of daycare one day? But I would take her out of daycare. I'm like, let's just go to the mall. Like I just wanted company. Like I'm gonna take all the time I can just to spend time with her. And I will say that is what, if I didn't have that baby, I don't know what would have happened. And it's because I had someone to live for. She made me happy and I wanted to be around her all the time. And I think that's where our bond happened even more is while I was out, when I was realizing like, I don't want to go back to work. Like, this is great. Like, I don't want to have a strict 8 to 5. Like, this is so much better than that. So I remember just feeling guilty, feeling sad, crying, angry, a lot of anger, a whole lot of anger.
Who are
Um,
you mad at?
uh, my employer, my previous employer. I would say I'm mad at the way it happened, and I'm mad at how I was treated, and the whole we're a family thing to me is just not a thing.
Girl,
We
that's
are not
bullshit.
family. Yes, you are my boss. I am working for you. And um that's just not a thing because we any of us can get let go. I've had to let go of people before, but I'm telling you, I've never told them we were family.
I know that's
But
right.
and it wasn't in a way of how I was let go. It was more of like, hey, we have some structure issues. Hey, we're having a budget issue, etc. But I think again, it didn't happen for a while. I didn't realize that that happened for a reason. That the way they did it and what happened for a reason. I would not be where I am today for that. So that's why I always say like, I have to like t kind of pause like how was I feeling? Because it was so long ago. But as I'm talking about it right now, I can feel it as if it was today. Like the anger, the sadness in me. Um,
I think where I'm really happy to hear when you say I was angry, you were angry at them and not yourself. Because
yeah.
I think what I see a lot, especially having these conversations, talking to women who are dealing with, these like being let go, there's a lot of internal blame. Like, oh, what could I have done to be better? What could I have done to ensure I didn't get picked for the layoff group? What could I have done? A lot of like this self reflecting that is really like self deprecating in a way when none of this is really our fault. Like there's nothing that we could have done. So hearing you say, no, I was angry at these people, that kind of makes me feel a little bit better because at least you know who to be angry with.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So you didn't get a severance because we always talk about the money on this show. Did we have 6 months of savings?
We didn't.
And you
And
had
it,
you had a husband. You have a husband.
yeah,
Still have a husband.
yes.
Were you the primary breadwinner or was he?
At that point he was.
Well, of
And I
course.
think actually while I was employed there, he still was the
Oh, okay,
primary.
perfect.
So that's the thing at the end of the day, like, I always say like, oh, there was no severance. Oh, like my savings was gone. The bills, etc. I had my husband, which he's the one who kept the household running. He's the one who was making sure the lights were staying on. We have a place to live. The cars were being paid, the daycare was being paid, groceries. Um, but that comes with guilt to me, for me, because as a woman, you know, there's always that conversation of the 50-50, and I hate that conversation so much. But as for me, like I've always had my own. My mom was a single mom. I don't know what it means to have, I never knew what it means to have a husband who supported. So I've always had, working for well-paying jobs, always have paid for my own cars, my own bills. So when it was coming time for him to help me, I had guilt of, oh my God, because when you combine both salaries, you both have nice running cars, you have a nice house that you live in, you're able to do this for your child. So when part of that's gone, you're like, oh, well, I can't even help. I can't do anything. I can't support anything. So that part for me was hard. Um, Watching him because I know like he was, oh, it's fine, I got it. But I'm sure it wasn't easy for him to watch everything that's happened in the last year with me between the pregnancy, the birth, and now she's let go. So I've acknowledged that with him so many times where I'm like, I saw you, I saw you working hard. I saw you watching me be stressed. I saw you in your face when the baby was born early. So acknowledging that I did feel and see that. Um, but that part for me was hard. But without him, like him and my mom would actually give me money to go network. So like I would go network at like wine bars or like coffee shops with different people and just to talk and keep my name out there. And they were like, hey, here's some money, or hey, here's this and that. And they didn't have to do that. They could have just like, no, this money's going towards all the bills. And instead it was like, my mom's making sure I was back home in Ohio for Christmas. And she made sure I got to go to Disney World this year with the whole family. And, it was a lot of family support that I know that I'm blessed to have, and not everyone has that. That I will forever be thankful and grateful for both of them for that.
I love it. So that family support really came in handy when you decided to make the decision to stop looking for a corporate job. Tell us about that decision.
Um, so every job I was applying to, it just was not the job. Like it was just not what I was wanting. And I'm a very passionate person when it comes to marketing PR. So whatever I'm doing, I have to have passion behind it. And if I don't, I will not sell your product. I will not talk about your product if I don't like it. So it was so hard to find something. And then also hard to realize like you got to sit back in traffic again. And all this time you're having with your baby, you're going to lose it again. Um, so again, when I had talked to a friend who was like, "Hey, we're looking for someone to do some marketing for us." And I was like, "Oh yeah, I can do that. Like that's fine." Um, when I don't quite remember telling my mom and my husband, that I'm gonna do this. I think I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna do this for some extra money." It was never supposed to be where it is today. It was literally like, I want to make some extra money on the side until I find like the perfect job. And I always joke that I couldn't find the perfect job, so I created the perfect job. So me finding like all the industries, like I love working with small businesses. I love business districts. I love destination marketing. I love to eat restaurants. I love to stay in a hotel. So everything I like to do and whatever it is and visit, that's what I want to promote. Um, so I think my mom paid for my LLC. My husband paid for like my website and internet, or not internet, but my website and something else that had to come with it. But anyways, um and I just remember like I said, this is gonna pay off, guys. Like you're my investors, like my first investors. Mind you, it's like maybe like 500 bucks I got from them. But the point is like you're my investors, you're investing into this business. I said it might grow into something big. And I just remember one day, I guess I just kept getting calls like, hey, so and so from the chamber said that you started your own business, and we have this company that's looking for something. Like, hey, this district is looking for some help. And it just kept coming in. And I was like, well, like maybe this is it. And I remember in March, February and March, mostly March, I was working for free. Like nobody had paid yet. And I'm like, I'm setting up systems. I'm talking to software companies about things that I need. And I'm like crying. I'm like, I need money. I gotta, the daycare is gonna increase our pay again. They had given us a reduced rate for a couple months. I'm like, I gotta make income. I can't just sit here and work for nothing. And I will never forget April 1st when I got the deposit of $20,000 into my account and how happy I was. And I could not believe it. I was like, I went from nothing to 20,000 in like overnight in my bank account.
Well, it wasn't
And
overnight, Alexis. Let's
well, yes.
acknowledge, like, I want to make sure you guys hear what my sister went through, okay? She said she was grinding it out for free.
Yeah.
She was getting her name out there for free. So she was paying in like labors of love and not getting any money back, which is something I can relate to right now because the money's not coming in. And I'm like, oh my gosh, you weren't discouraged. You kept going. And when
Yeah.
she said chamber, just for those who don't know, Chamber of Commerce,
Oh, yes.
which I'm familiar with because I used to work for one, and Chamber of Commerce are really great resources for small business, especially in the city that you're working in. It opens a ton of doors. We'll put some of those resources in this episode, but you did all that work and got that $20,000 deposit.
Yes.
And
That
then
was,
what decision did we come to? What conclusion were we coming to at that point?
well, gosh, I just knew at that point that this was it. And that's when I hired my first two people. One was a friend, our husbands were in the Air Force together. So we had met 10 years ago. And she was a mom who just could not find a role. And I was like, hey, I need some help. Do you want it? She's like, yes, I've been looking for something. And, again, moms helping moms because I know how it feels. I mean, I didn't have that, I'm taking a 5-year break and I'm coming back to the workforce, but she did. And I was like, I'm going to help you out. Like, I need some help. A lot of people ask me, what did I do to reward myself? And I always say, well, funny enough, our bed frame had just broke. And I needed a new bed frame. And I said I went to the store, the furniture store, and I was able to buy one. And I said, and then I went to the mall and I bought myself a Dior perfume. And I bought my husband like another designer cologne just to say thank you. And I was like, and that's what I did. And they were like, you didn't do anything else? I was like, no. I was like, I had bills to pay and I said I had softwares to pay. I said, this was like an investment. I said, I treated myself. I got what I needed and I just kept going from there. And um now, we're racking in, I mean, way more than that per month.
Tell the people the
Like I said,
numbers. We talked about the numbers, but I want you to share so you can encourage some folks.
yes, yes, yes. So right now, we're projected by, I would say, January to be bringing in at least 50,000, and then by end of 50,000 a month. And then by end of year of 2026, we are projected at $1 million in revenue for the year. So that is just based off of people don't believe me. They ask, how did you do this? That is the number one question I get from friends, families, associates, and I say referrals. I said I told people some people are lucky enough to not have to go to a networking event that they don't want to go to or have to work late at night to get the results to prove themselves. I said I for the last 6 years since I've been living here in Colorado, I've been networking my butt off in every like the all the surrounding cities of Denver, Aurora, Parker, Castle Rock, Lone Tree, wherever you can find me, I'm there somewhere. I will reach out to someone on LinkedIn. I have proven my work. I show my work on LinkedIn. I am kind to people. I think being kind is not that hard.
Kindness is an underrated strategy. I
Yes.
always say being kind is an underrated strategy.
Yes. People don't believe me, but I'm like, be nice for just a little bit, just a little bit. Say hi, how you doing? Ask how the kids are. It's not that hard. And all that combined it has my phone ringing, my emails coming through like, hey, I have this lead. To
What
have a client in New York, to have clients all over the nation already, I I don't I all I have to say is I've been working at that for 6 years. For 6 years, that really got me to this point.
what I love about this story is a couple of things. One, you activated your network before you needed your network. So you say, hey, I've been like talking, being kind, working these rooms for 6 years before you even knew that, hey, I'm going to go into business for myself because you were like, I'm going to be a corporate girly because we
always.
getting paid these good money, thinking it's a lot of money, which is what I have to keep reminding myself. There's so much money out there. That's one thing. Two is that you are asking people to help you for like refer me, which I think a lot of people underestimate the power in the ask for help and referrals.
Yeah.
Like, if you want to like take it back old school, like to me, because I feel that, and this is Kamika speaking, I sometimes feel that social media has made a lot of people lazy because
Hmm.
it's not enough to just put your business out there. You have to be reaching out. You got to make some cold calls. You got to like really kind of show your face, get outside, network. If you want to be successful on your own, it just doesn't come easy, even though people put it out there on the internet like it does come easy. Like you were out there grinding, sis. You were
Yes.
out there grinding. And I think like to hear that you went from being super sad, upset, to now it's like, no, I have proved my worth. I have this business that is projected to make $1 million this year because your episode will be released in 2026. But I think it's just like super inspiring for people to understand the depth of the work that you've done. And it's like, no, 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 it wasn't easy. I was working for free at one point in time and it all paid off.
It did. Yeah. I want people to realize that Um, I think a lot of people think that things just come easy. They see the CEO with a nice car, nice house, or people with money as if everyone's just born that way. And it's not. It's a lot of time and effort, and it's exhausting. Like there's some times when I'm just like, I don't want to go to this event. But I walk in, I grab a glass of wine, and I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's meet somebody, let's talk to someone, let's shake some hands. You just never know who you are going to meet. And that's what people need to realize is that you can talk to somebody who is selling the Mary Kay, and you can talk to the woman who is CEO of the Chamber of Commerce. And people don't realize that the lady who sells Mary Kay knows a ton of people because she's at the Chamber of Commerce events way more than maybe the CEO is. And you got to realize you got to be nice to everybody. The whole thing of the janitor, like that's the tr it's actually a true story. Like you really just need to be kind. You never know who you're gonna be working with one day. And I applaud myself. And I know my husband, if I'm sure he's gonna watch this, but his biggest thing is, he's like, you're out there a lot. You're out there a lot. And I said, yeah, but look what it's doing. I said, look, if I wasn't out there, I wouldn't be here today. I'm telling you that right now. I would have been running Google ads, going door to door. And I said, at some point I'm gonna have to put pitch to some people, and that's fine. I'm ready to do that myself too, but it's nice to get those referrals. And people don't just refer anybody. I want to make sure people understand that. Referrals are, when they know that, for example, if you do good work and they're seeing you do good work, they're more willing to refer you. So it's important to put yourself out there. So use your social media, talk to people about what you're doing, show them what clients you have. You can't just be like, hey, can you refer me? It's like, well, why should I refer you?
That part.
I'm very, very careful about my referrals because again, it kind of has your name on it. So talk about yourself. Like go on social media. Like I post on LinkedIn almost every day. It's about my client, it's about what I'm doing. I use my LinkedIn in a personal manner of this is who I am as my personal brand, but this is what I'm doing in my company and professionally. But then I also have an Instagram that is geared towards more of the influencers in media. I want to make sure that they know I'm out here, who are my clients. I'm just like you. Let's be friends. Let's talk. Let's connect so I can get my clients on your news station or you can go ahead and influence for them. I have two Facebooks. People think I'm crazy. I have my personal one with my family from Ohio and Albuquerque, and I have my Colorado one. And the Colorado one is my professional, personal one, where I don't want them to know everything about me, but just enough about here's my kid, she's beautiful, here's my family, but hey, here's my client, and they're having this event this weekend, come see me. So using different methods to network, it's not always about going out there. Like you have to go out there, but also be online. But you can't just be online hiding behind. Like you got to go shake some hands. Like you said, you got to call somebody. You got to I am not afraid to message a CEO that I like, oh, she is so cool. I want to know about her right now. Like I will message her and like, Can we go out for a glass of wine? Can we do a Zoom? That's exactly what you should do. Don't be afraid. People are willing to talk about themselves
All the
and their
time.
journeys. So just do it.
All the time. I love everything about this episode. I think people are going to find so much value in hearing your story, Alexis. Where can people find you? Give us all your links, your ats, your websites, etc.
Okay, so first, mostly active on Instagram and LinkedIn. So Instagram is Alexis and the underscore city. So Alexis in the city, that's where you can find pretty much everything I'm doing where I'm around. My LinkedIn is Alexis Watts, and my business is awattscollective.com, where you can see my team, more about our bio and the services that we provide to our clients.
And our last question for you is how would you like for this community to save you? Remembering that SAVE stands for support, amplify, validate, and elevate.
I would say the days that I am like asking myself, what am I doing or what did I get myself into? Or the days that I'm in a dark place of reminding myself of what happened and where I came from. Someone remind me that you got this. You got this, and this is your real life. Um, and don't let anybody or anything stop you. I feel like life is beautiful, even though it's insane, it's chaotic right now in the world. I think everyone can find some kind of beauty in their life. And sometimes just hearing, like, you got this, I'm proud of you, or don't let people get you down, that can change your day completely.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much, Alexis, for
Thank
sharing your
you.
story. And I promise we did not have this plan, but this week's save strategy is focusing on the S and the A in SAVE, which is support and amplify. I want you to support yourself by amplifying your own story. One thing that I took immediately from hearing Alexa's story, and always have to remind my listeners, like, hey, I do intake calls before we do interviews. So when I really say I'm excited to have someone on, I really am excited to have someone on. I did not realize that Alexis was going to share as much as she did around like her ability to really amplify herself and support yourself. So do not play small, sis. This is not the time for small playing. I want you to support yourself by amplifying your wins, your losses. Most importantly, when I think of amplification, especially as you're trying to figure out your new normal, whether it's, hey, I'm going to go back to corporate America or go back to work, I want you to really focus on the process and the journey. I don't think that we talk enough about like what it means to be an entrepreneur trying to build a business from the ground up. I try to share a lot of my journey and a lot of my process and amplify it so that you guys know it's hard some days. It's hard some days to just get up and get it done. Like today was challenging. We had a lot of, before we could even get on camera, a lot of little mishaps. The camera wasn't working. We couldn't get the emails to go through, just a lot of other stuff. And I don't talk I haven't talked a ton yet about being a caretaker to my mom, but I had to cook her breakfast and lunch before I even came into the studio. I had the Home Depot guy there, and I felt really chaotic today. But what I will say is that amplifying and supporting yourself as you're moving through this process is really an act of love. So don't be afraid to really kind of shine a light on yourself and amplify your journey and clap for yourself along the way. So that is the SAVE strategy for the week. As always, follow, like, subscribe on all social media, on all platforms: Apple, Spotify, YouTube. Black Women Will Save Black Women. Um, as usual, support, amplify, validate, elevate. That's how we save. And never forget, Black women will save Black women. I'm your host, Kamika Dillard. Have a good week, y'all.